Good morning, everybody. This is Josh from CELLAR Toys. Today I'm going to do a bit of a walkthrough of the collection, talk about individual pieces, what product they are, if they're from a certain manufacturer like Hot Toys or Sideshow, InArt, Caustic Plastic, or if it's a custom piece, I'll probably go a little bit more into detail about that, who the artists are, where I if I made it myself, like where I got the pieces and stuff, build certain pieces. If I misspeak anybody's artist names, I apologize. I'm going to do this more of like a raw, uncut, unedited, talking about each piece. And then at the end, I'll just include some photos of the collection with some music at the end. Yeah, so let's start. So when we moved into this house originally in March of 18, the original layout was over here was the projector mounted up top facing this wall, and the surround sound system was installed this way. And then over here was a window, and there's also a window there and behind there. It was like a little nit that I didn't like about the layout down here, and so I decided that at some point I would like to do a little swap and move the projector to this wall, which is more centered in the room. And it's just something that's been a little bit of a bug for me, OCD wise, because having it over here, I had my back to the collection, like the whole collection was back here, and I couldn't, really enjoy looking at anything while also partaking in movies or video games or whatever. So luckily this year I was able to get that done. I hired my brother-in-law, who is a contractor, and he helped me out with everything. This ceiling was originally, this was a divider here, and then the ceiling went back up there. Well, we decided we were going to lower that down. We moved the lights that were over here before to the sides. And I installed some color changing LEDs. It was funny because the final night when this was all getting taken care of and I was finally getting this mounted up and everything was going to get put back, I could start watching movies and stuff again. Didn't realize that the 8K HDMI cable that we installed that went through the ceiling or through the wall and up into the ceiling up here to the projector. We didn't know that it was a one-way cable, and it was accidentally installed the wrong way, so we spent another good hour and a half. We had to fish it back through the line, swap it around, and then reinstall it. And what's funny is I actually had used this same cable for my PS5 when it was over here, and I guess I had just installed it, and I didn't even know that they made one-way cables at the time. So, yeah, that was a nice little lesson to learn there. So, I'll start over in this area here, which is kind of like the main setup. This big glass display case, I get asked a lot, like where I got it, and it was actually on Marketplace locally. Shortly after we moved into this house, someone had put it up for sale $50 U-Haul, and well, that was a no-brainer here for me. So I had more space at the time, so I just was, yeah, this is gonna be great. And we drove over. It was about 45-minute drive, and picked it up. I don't know the brand or anything like that. It's kind of weird that it was uh, installed with the glass cases or the glass windows on the back, with that being the front, you would think it would be reversed, right? So I kind of have to have it open to both sides because of to get inside of it. You know, I could if I had these bars here block for display purposes, so I can't really have this other side up against the wall somewhere, you know. So I'm gonna start with for the details. I'm gonna start with my animation collection here. This is Beast Kingdom, Mickey Mouse, Sorceress Apprentice. I bought this off Amazon a couple of years ago now, I think it's been. And when it arrived, it was broken, and so I had to, you know, issue an exchange and stuff. But it ended up going smooth, no issues other than that. And then got it, and it's been good ever since. Been waiting for a Fantasia steelbook to come out so I could have that on display with it. Mondo's animation Joker. Another thing of my collection, I'd like to point out that I do have certain guidelines or rules to what I collect. So I don't collect. I try to stay away from collecting any TV series stuff. Right. Very limited on video games as well. I like to try and stick solely with movies, feature films. And obviously, the Batman the animated joke or animated series Joker doesn't really count, right? Well, I got Batman Mask of the Phantasm there, so I can count that as a movie. I still need to get the steelbook for that too, actually. Toy Story, obviously one of the best '90s films. Got to have that represented in the collection. And these are I forget the name, but these are the ones, the Buzz and Woody were the ones that you could get at Toys R Us back in the day. I don't Thinkway Toys, I think it is. And then Potato Head and Slinky. I actually found Slinky in the box at a Goodwill for like, I think it was like $5. So that was pretty cool. Shrek. This is a McFarlane Toys 2001, 2002 plush Shrek, about 14 inches tall. He's got like a bit of a wire armature in there, but I really wish it was kind of stronger. I mean, you kind of have to, in order to get his hand to reach his ear like that, I have to, the ear is holding it up like that. Obviously, there's never been a 1/6 scale Shrek, but I think this is probably the closest we're going to get, unless with a new movie coming out, maybe they'll do one. Let's swing around here. This is the Hasbro Big Millennium Falcon, or the BMF, bad motherfucker. This also, I think it retailed for like $150 back when it was released. I got lucky and got it at Walmart in clearance for like, I think it was like $25. Now down here, this is standard, or this is the Sideshow C-3PO and R2-D2. I've been tempted to get the Hot Toys ones, but it's like I think Sideshow is just good enough for me for these characters. I don't. When it comes to certain characters and in the price, it each character kind of represents a different pay scale for me as far as what I would be willing to pay for a certain character. You know, so and then like the whole thing with the diecast. Diecast to me is kind of wasted in most aspects, unless it's like metal weapons or something like that, or like pieces of armor. I don't need a full die cast figure. You know, it doesn't really do much for me. The diorama was made by Rhino Dioramas. I paid for the um, the file, and I had a buddy of mine, Devin. He printed it for me, and then I pieced it together, painted it, found the wires. The conduit, like the silver conduit, there is actually shoelaces that I painted or spray painted silver. And then the wires are just normal little electrical wires that you can buy off Amazon. This is the Sideshow Han and Carbonite, the Empire Strikes Back version with the light up features, and then Boba Fett Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back. For Jedi Luke, it's been kind of a love-hate relationship with Hot Toys as far as like some of the likenesses of certain characters, like Luke. I don't think it's like 100% there for any version that they've made. I had the original Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight that they did with the cloak and all that stuff. I had that for a while. Ended up selling it. Then ended up buying the Endor deluxe version. Ended up selling that. Then they did the Mando, which I skipped on the Mando. But then this is actually, if I remember right, is the deluxe Endor. I ended up buying from another collector named Paul, and he's using the Mando head sculpt with the Return of the Jedi hairpiece, I believe it is. So, and this is actually, in my opinion, as of right now, is the definitive Jedi Luke out there right now with the movable eyes. I still think they could do better though. It's not 100% there yet. Down here we got Hot Toys Yoda. And then a little Dagobah scene that I put together. This is Display Heroes base I got with the name tag or nameplate. Before the Hot Toys one, they had Sideshow did one, and it wasn't that great. And then Medicom also had one years back. That was actually, if you repainted it and got it haired, it actually, I would argue, might even be better than the Hot Toys one. Obviously, the Hot Toys DeLorean Mark II. Years ago, like back when they announced the first time machine, I said, "Well, I'm going to skip that one because I want to get the Mark II." And years go by, and there's no announcement, right? And so I'm starting to think, "Oh shit, I messed my window on that. I messed up," and it didn't seem like they were going to be doing any more Back to the Future stuff. And luckily they obviously ended up doing it, so I'm happy that ended up working out. The gotta go way down here. The Hot Toys '89 Batmobile. I had this originally the first release. This is the reissue now. I had the first release and was trying to put together some money to get my wife it's called an Eddy. It's an edible printer, and it's like they retail for like $3,000. So I decided to let this one go to get money to put towards that. I was kind of gambling on that, whether or not we'd see a reissue, and luckily that worked out for me too. So then I was able to get the reissue, and now I got both the '89 Batmobile and the DeLorean, and I'm good as far as 1/6 scale vehicles go. Up here, this is the cabinet space. I get asked this a lot too. These up here, and then obviously the one over there, they're custom made My brother-in-law also made me those these originally, or got these made shortly after we moved into this house. So kind of divided into two sections here. The first section being my top five. These are my top five favorite movie characters slash designs, creatures, whatever you want to call them, in movie cinematic history. I don't see this ever changing. Figures in here might change, but the characters itself, they'll stay the same. Obviously, we know who these characters are. They're pretty iconic. Indiana Jones. And this is actually the first. This head sculpt is actually the very first custom head sculpt that I had bought. That took me down a very, very deep and expensive rabbit hole. The Inigo smiling Indiana Jones, and this one is actually painted by Jacob Ramier. In the community, he's pretty well known. If you don't know who he is, you should check him out. Amazing painting and herring work. Incredible guy too. Hot Toys DX, was it fifth? Now I'm forgetting the name. DX 16, 15. Jack Sparrow. This one's pretty much stock. I haven't really done much with this one. Or wait, I take that back. This is the DX06 with the DX 16, 15 base. Darth Vader. This is a modded sideshow. Deluxe Return of the Jedi with a New Hope chest plate. DX13 T800 battle damage. Obviously the new one's coming out, and looking forward to that. And this is a modded classic Predator with German Beast biomask and trophies. The electrical effects were from an old Star Wars Unleashed Palpatine figure. I just cut it off the hands, cut them in pieces, and then just kind of laid it on there. I made the diorama base. I know it doesn't make much sense having the biomask and then the biomask, but originally I had the unmasked head up here. And then that's just a Fison body I bloodied up and got hung up for future trophy work for the Jungle Hunter. Leaves and all that stuff you can find at like aquariums and pet stores and stuff like that. Or even hobby craft stores like Hobby Lobby, Michael's. This is modded. Oh, it's starting to come on sticky. Modded Hot Toys Leia and Luke from A New Hope. Obviously Leia's on a Fison body, modded dress. The Luke is, I actually did a little bit of I took the torso part off of the stock Luke, and the torso here is actually the Asmus Ash Williams, which is a full sculpted torso and neck. It runs all the way down into his abs, works wonders. And then the arms are sleeves from 3-0 Daryl Dixon, I believe, is what it was. 6-inch scale 3PO and R2 in the background to make it look like some scale distance. This is a scratch build Millennium Falcon ramp that I did a couple of years ago, made out of cardboard and foam and other pieces of knickknacks and stuff. And I think I did sculpt a few pieces of it. Aruna, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Art Scopia on Instagram and Facebook did an awesome Han Solo Ford sculpt. Actually, he's going to be updating a new paint job on mine, and when I get a new one, I'll destroy this sculpt per his request. It came out a little too flush in the face, too red, so he's going to be doing new ones for everybody that got one, I believe. Obviously, this is the Hot Toys Chewbacca. He'll be staying right there. I'm still planning to get the Empire Strikes Back one, but the Empire one will be going in with my Bespin Han. So let's take this out. Open this up. Probably the most iconic scene in all of Star Wars, in my opinion. I mean, you can't really beat this. Empire Strikes Back, Vader versus Luke. This is the peak of Star Wars to me. This is as good as it gets. And I was lucky to be able to get a Jazz Ink diorama of this scene, or the diorama of the gantry and stuff from another fellow collector that was selling it. It worked out nicely. I ended up having to print a new backdrop, but I mean, I installed some LEDs in the back to make it look like some of it's lit up. So these are premium formats. Well, not all of them. Obviously, Indiana Jones, Jack Sparrow, and Gandalf here are premium format. Sideshow. Surprisingly, that is still the stock leather jacket. Or not, it's not leather, but still in one piece. It hasn't disintegrated yet, which is a surprise. Most of them have. I still really love this Jack Sparrow pose. Likeness is, I mean, it's still solid for the time, but obviously now it's starting to get a little dated. And this hat actually, this is how it came. The hat is actually from NECA, the NECA 18-inch figure that they did years ago. Iron Studios Vader, arguably the best quarter scale statue at all. I mean, for Vader. A lot of great things here. I wish it would have been USB powered though. I had to do a mod or get an adapter to put into the battery compartment in the base to have it light up USB. I mean, by now it's kind of, at this stage, I mean, I think most of these things should be standard light ups with plugins, USB powered, what have you. Still the same thing with the chest piece and the belts. You have to actually take them off. There's switches in the back to turn them on. I don't know who's going to do that all the time. I mean, that's ridiculous to expect to do that all the time. So they just stay off. The light up of the saber and the spotlight on the ground is good enough. Gandalf, premium format. This one I actually, you can tell I went in and I added real hair to the sculpt and the beard. Obviously makes a huge difference. I love this pose though. I mean, I don't think there's been a better statue yet. No homes for these two yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to sell them or what I'm going to do yet. I don't really want to sell them because I like them, but they might have to go. Mondo. Mondo's been hit or miss for me. These have been relatively hit. I mean, Skeletor's awesome, great. Battle Cat's amazing. He-Man's great. It's most of their movie stuff that hasn't been impressing me as much yet. But if you're a fan of Masters of the Universe and 1/6 scale, these are great. This is my Lord of the Rings. Well, this was a Blu-ray set, but I put the 4Ks in here of the movies. Sideshow, the Child, Grogu statue. Come over here and start on the details. This is Damn Toys, Marlon Brando for Don Corleone, Don Vito. was so glad that they ended up releasing this or doing this one because when Hot Toys announced theirs back in the day, I didn't, and Ender Bay, uh, I was still pretty selective on because I didn't have enough room for things and I didn't have the type of income yet to really be buying every one of them that I wanted. So that was one that was on the chopping block that I couldn't really afford at the time. So I was glad that Damn Toys came on board to do this. John Wayne from True Grit. This character and John Wayne in general reminds me of my grandpa. So that's the main reason I have him in the collection. Is he was also my grandpa's favorite actor. Obviously loved westerns, and westerns may not be my one of the best genres that I care about, but had to have this guy for sentimental reasons. And I mean, he's iconic. He needs to be represented, right? Oh, Cesar Romero, Joker, Mars Toys. Really amazing work with this guy. He's really fun to pose, and comes with 3 different head sculpts. And it just the color just pops too. I love that the color. You don't get very many characters like this nowadays. Obviously, I was a huge fan when I was a kid growing up watching the reruns. My I remember one time I had to go to bed for school because bedtime, and my dad was like telling me I had to go to bed, and I'm like, well, Batman's gonna be on, and I said, tell you what, I'll make a deal. I was like, we'll start watching the movie or watch the show. If it's a Joker episode, I get to stay up and watch it. If it's any other villain, I'll go to bed. And he's like, that's fine, we'll make that deal. So, what do you know is the title screen comes up and it's Joker's Wild, right? And it's like, what's the chances of that? So he's like, oh, you got lucky there, buddy. And so yeah, I got to stay up and watch. But obviously, Joker is my favorite DC villain. So hoping Mars Toys will release more of the villains. I know they're doing Riddler and the Penguin, and I'll have them in here with him as well. Wizard of Oz. This is a custom by iMini-Me, Denny Kim. This is an older custom that came out years ago now. Still holds up pretty well. I mean, the only thing I'd really change on it would be putting a Fison body on it to make the seamless arms. But unfortunately, the way the figure is with the shoes, it's kind of hard to do a swap on that. So it is what it is. I know there's a few companies right now looking at doing 1/6 scale Wizard of Oz figures. Dorothy, Lion, Scarecrow, Tin Man. Can't really talk about that right now, but I know they're coming from a few different licensed and unlicensed. So we'll be getting, finally, after years and years and years of wanting quality 1/6 scale Wizard of Oz figures, it seems like it's finally going to be becoming a reality. Again, with Luke Skywalker in 1/6 is just this sculpt is actually from Sideshow. It was the X-Wing pilot Luke head sculpt with want to say the Medicom A New Hope Luke hairpiece glued on. This has been repainted by Nathan Eakins, Silent Surfer. The body is actually Blitzway. I think, no, not Blitzway. Enter Bay Elvis body, chest piece. And the outfit's a mix of Hot Toys and Medicom. Caustic Plastic Loan Shark Rocky diorama. I was actually pretty impressed with this when I opened it up. Way better in hand than I thought it was going to be. Really, really quality work. Magnetic base, nice. Caustic Plastic is the company that works for Sly Stallone's shop doing their figures. And yeah, it's really impressive. I'm looking forward to seeing their training outfit one. This is still a work in progress. I got obviously Bruce the Shark here. Going to be Sheriff Brody and then Quint in not the right attire right now. I'm still waiting for the outfit to come. There's going to be a diorama involved. This is going to be one of my favorite displays when it's all said and done. It's still obviously not there yet, but it's going to, hopefully by the end of next year, I don't know. I guess I don't know what the time frame will be for Andy from Dog Eat Doc Designs is going to be doing a fighting chair and their accessories for Quint. I don't know what time frame it's looking at for that to be done and released, but hopefully 2025 would be great. Otherwise, 2026 might be a ways away yet. We'll see. I mean, the paint on Quint is phenomenal. Another one by Jacob Ramier. Brody is at the painter with Nathan. Nathan's painting Brody at some point. This is my the beginning of my Willy Wonka setup that I got going on. I still have to hang the gummy bears on the tree, and then waiting for Mars Toys to release their Chocolatier and the Oompa Loompa deluxe set. Hot Toys Christopher Reeve Superman. Very few figures most of my figures in the collection I will mod. I'll do something to it to make it my own, unique in some way or shape or form, to give it a little spin of uniqueness to my collection. That's why I like to do the backdrop prints with the VHS or steelbook mounted on the background. I like to do custom diorama bases, whatever I can to give it a little extra flair. Some figures I don't end up doing anything with, and Superman is one of them. I have not done any modding whatsoever to this figure. It's one of the releases that was like perfect out the gate, in my opinion. I know people got custom outfits by Yunsel and all that stuff, and I never thought it was needed, really. I'm excited to see what InArt does with theirs, if they can top this or not. Movable eyes is going to be nice, but let's I'm hoping for the best for that. Sideshow, Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones, painted by Jacob. The body and outfit was weathered and painted by me. Custom diorama base, a DX style base by me. This figure actually is what got me banned from Let Your Geek Sideshow, right? I posted this years back to show off on the group, and it got deleted. And I got into it with one of the mods there. I don't know who it was now. I'm saying, because they were saying it, since it's been modded, it's not allowed, right? I'm like, well, it's your product, for crying out loud, you know? I'm just stepping it up to the next level, making it look better than what the stock was. Well, they didn't like that answer, and then I got booted. About a year later, I got a hold of another mod, and I'd asked, I was like, hey, listen, can I get back into the group? You know, it's like kind of silly to boot me because I have a different opinion than you about what should be, you know, okay or whatnot on the board. But they let me back in, and then I had shared a collection update, some pictures of my collection, and right like that, I was fucking gone again. I was blocked like that. Whatever, you know, have fun. Down here is Presents Toys, Michael Corleone, Godfather Part 2. In order to get that cross-legged pose, you have to go and I had to Dremel out the thighs on the figure to get the legs to cross like that. So Michael doesn't have any junk. Hot Toys, Big Chap, Alien. This one's pretty much stock as well, except for I did add kind of like a clear coat wet effect all over his body. I mean, there's not much you really can do with a full rubber body anyway. In art, Gandalf the Grey, one of my favorite pieces in the collection. Definitely one of the best mass-produced figures that have been released. Movable eyes, real hair, real beard. Pretty much love everything about this figure. There's some characters you just like, God, really deserve to have top quality work showcasing, you know. And Gandalf is one of my favorites too. Definitely in my top 10. The diorama base was made by me using carving foam. Just pretty much hacked away at it the way I wanted to make it look, and paint and gravel and dirt glued on. Worked out nicely. Hot Toys T800 from the Terminator. Waiting on Randall McMurphy. This is a complete custom build of Bespin Han, sculpted by Inigo Gil, painted by Nathan, Yunsel, clothing outfit, Robbie from Tiny Ass Props made the rig and the blaster. And then Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back Chewie will go in here with Han. These are all azimuths. Obviously, Sam and Frodo have custom heads. I still need to get Sam sent off to get painted and haired, but I'm kind of holding off. If InArt's going to do them, I'm probably going to just get the InArt azimuth column in the back. This is a modded, customized Hot Toys Classic Predator. I repainted the armor and trophies. And then the head sculpt is by a sculptor in, is it Peru? Or Spain? But Mauricio Chavez. Really nailed it. Rubber tendrils, dreads, rubber quills. Curious to see what Hot Toys does with the 2.0 that they're working on. Whether it's going to be an actual full 2.0 or reissue with new paint or what. I like the new diorama base they're working on, or they're doing. Conan the Barbarian. I need to, his face is a little red. Doesn't match the tan. I need to look at either new body or doing like a kind of a brown wash on him to kind of tone that red down, I think. This is my Hero Indy, sculpted by Inigo. This is the version 2, painted by Nathan. And this figure was actually the first full custom figure that I ended up buying. I got it off eBay years ago, and obviously it's been a rebuild. You know, the sculpt I sent it off to Nathan, had it repainted. New jacket, new pants, or pants might still be the same. New shirt, full metal revolver. Whip is from Joe Strain. DX style base made by me. In Art Aragorn, a lot of people are. It's a very diversive figure right now. People either love it or hate it, complaining about it, nitpicking it. I think it's one of the, again, like with Gandalf, is right up there, one of the best mass-produced figures out there. Except for Cloak Gate, the Ranger cloak nonsense. Hot Toys Robocop, another figure that I have not done any modding to. Pretty much perfect out of the box. I can't really complain. Sly Stallone Shop, Drifter, Rambo, John J. Here's one that's going to be, I think, a forever piece for me. Not going anywhere. This one, E.T. and Elliot. Very fond memories of this movie growing up. I was so happy that I was able to get on this run. Full figure, custom run by Andy at Doggy Dock Designs. The sculpt was done by Sean Dabbs, and then painted by Jacob. E.T. was painted by Andy. I want to say that the outfit was by D-Fly. Full metal working bicycle by Andy. The other part of the set is the full E.T., and he's over in another display. And diorama base made by me. This is the Hot Toys DX 16 or 15, DX 15 sculpt with real hair, wool. This figure here pretty much has something from every single 1/6 scale Jack Sparrow that's been released put in here. Whether it be Medicom, Hot Toys, several different versions. They're all in there. Enterbay. The cloth bandanas from Enterbay. The chest piece is from Enterbay. Fabric paints to wash out the uniform. It's a custom kit bash I did years ago. One of the first ones I did. Not the best looking, but still waiting for someone to do a licensed John McClane from Die Hard. I'm actually shocked it hasn't happened yet. My custom kit bashed John Bender that I made from Breakfast Club. Most of the outfit I got off eBay. I couldn't tell you what the name of each piece would be. The head sculpt was actually I can't think of Che he had a beard and mustache. I had to shave that down to give him the likeness of John Bender. The jacket was from Sideshow, Jack Burton, Big Trouble in Little China. So this is just a placeholder until I get the Return of the Jedi, Hot Toys Return of the Jedi Deluxe version in. This is pretty much the only TV series figure that I don't really have an excuse to why I own this, but besides the fact that it's just really, really fucking cool. Absolutely love this fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan. That was like, that's probably been the best stuff that Disney has done since they got the license, was that fight scene, in my opinion. Sorry for those that like the sequel trilogy, but I can't stomach it. In art, the Dark Knight Joker. One-of-a-kind set that I had made. Another collector friend of mine, Josh Roop, I hired him to do the sculpts of Neil Page and Del Griffith, and I think he did a really great job. And then I sent the head sculpts off to Nathan. He painted them up. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is my favorite comedy of all time, so I needed to have them in the collection represented. The jacket I had Gee Whiz make. I think turned out pretty well. The trunk I made. Yeah, this is Redman Toys, Vincent and Jules, I think. Added real hair to Vincent. Another figure with a bunch of controversy is the new 89 Bats 2.0. And yeah, I mean, I can see why people are upset about the body armor. I can see it. But at the same time, I don't care about it. Like, it's some things it would bother me, and then some things don't. And I hear you why you're upset about it, and I acknowledge it. But for me, it doesn't bother me personally. You could easily cover it up with the cape. You could even take it up as battle damage based on the scene. Should have been smooth. Yeah, I think they messed up here. But I'm not gonna return the figure because of it. I'm not gonna miss out because of it. And I'm sure down the road, I'm sure InArt will probably take a crack at this, or Jazz Inc. I'm sure will do it. And I'm sure they'll get it right, and they'll be cool. I got a spot ready for the Dark Knight Armory, which I don't think it's gonna fit in that spot now that I had to lower the shelf. So might have to move Joker over here, do a little swapperoo or something. Oh, this I'm still gonna plan on building at some point. The Last Crusade Indy. It's the last of the trilogy indies that I need, really. I'm not gonna worry about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or Dial of Destiny. But at some point I'll do a Last Crusade version. It's the Hot Toys Eric Draven, the Crow. I re-haired myself. I'm actually working with Rhino Dioramas and he's working on a custom display diorama for me right now for this. This is the Presents Toys T800 body. Whoopsie. Presents Toys T800 body with the Hot Toys DX13 head sculpt. Obviously, if I had known they were going to be doing the 2.0, I wouldn't have even bothered with the Presents Toys. I would have waited. But you win some, you lose some. Sometimes you want a crystal ball with these releases so you can kind of, oh no, I'm going to wait because there's a better one coming, right? That's why, and it's like, they say like all these companies doing these figures now, competition is good. And it is good. Competition is great. But the problem is, because they say competition is great because the consumer wins out. Well, the consumer ends up buying, double buying, triple buying, yeah, you can end up turning it around and selling the ones that you have. But that's, that turns out to be work. And a lot of times you may or may not get your money back. So it sucks to have to be a gamble sometime to try and figure out, well, should I get this one or should I wait because there might be a better one being made? Or like with me, like waiting on the Back to the Future DeLorean. Like I thought I missed the boat. I was going to wait for the Mark II, and then it was like almost 10 years go by or so, and it's like, Jesus. But you never know when they're going to drop something, right? Hot Toys Mark III. And then here's another thing too. You get on this train, and there's reissues and 2.0s and each one better than the last one. Hot Toys is terrible at this. I mean, they do this with a lot with Iron Man, and now they're getting to do it with a lot of the other figures too. It's like you get to a point, and I was actually talking about this with another collector friend of mine. At some point you start chasing your own tail with these releases, right? You get, okay, so like when I started collecting these Hot Toys figures, right? And it was 2008, and I had never seen anything like it before. Like the Jungle Predator was coming out, and then like the Bank Robber Joker, at World's End, Jack Sparrow. Those were my first three Hot Toys figures, or first 1/6 scale figures in the collection. And at the time, I'm thinking, man, these are like the definitive versions of these characters, right? You're not going to find anything better. They're never going to be better, right? Kind of like when you're like video games, each generation is like, oh my God, the graphics it can't get any better than this, right? Like with a release of a figure, you get like, oh my God, it's the best it's going to be, right? It can't get any better. And then years later, they come out with a 2.0, or another company makes one better. It's like, dang it. Now you're the collector mindset. Going into this, you're like, you want the best version of these characters possible, right? You want the best version that's represented on the shelves, for the most part. I mean, I know there's some figures in my collection I have are not the best versions of these characters. Like sometimes they're knockoffs, right? And it's like, that's just what I'm willing to pay for a certain figure, right? A certain figure might be a really amazing custom piece. If it doesn't hold any sentimental value to me, like on a deep scale, then I'm not going to drop the big money on it, right? It's like I just want something representative of the movie, but I'm not going to spend more than $200, $300, $500 for it, right? Other characters that I do care about, yeah, I'm going to drop the money because I care about it and I want the best version of those characters possible. Case in point, we go back to talking about the 2.0s and stuff, and then you're just chasing your tail, right? You're just chasing your tail. Because it seems like it's happening more and more, or more quickly than it used to nowadays, right? It's like there's a 2.0 or something within 2 years of it coming out. Like the last one, it's like, dude, like, pump the brakes, move on to a different franchise or different IP for a little bit before you try to gouge my wallet again, right? But anyway, again, the 2.0 of the Mark III. Die cast. Yeah, this one's die cast. The proportions looked much better. It can't get any better than this, right? Well, we'll see what happens. Eternal Toys Penguin. Another character I know we're getting one from Mars Toys. I know we're probably going to get one from In Art. We're probably going to get one from Jazz. Most likely you're going to get one from Hot Toys now. And it's just, which one's going to be the best? Which one, how do you gauge the best too? Is it the real hair? Is it the movable eyes? Is it the the correct scaling of the coat, which this is wrong? Um, you know, or you could, big fans, you're going to have multiple different versions of these characters. I'm sure you're going to have the mayor version, you're going to have the sewer version, what have you. Um, this one is gonna suffice me until I see. Uh, I'm gonna wait and see what everyone delivers first before I decide what I'm gonna end up buying with that one. Also, Catwoman's coming too. We got Jazz Inc. We got, I'm sure Hot Toys is coming with that one. We got Mars Toys. It's just getting kind of crazy with the releases. It's good. I mean, it's great that we're seeing all this, but we don't need, or I don't need anyway. I don't need four different penguins. I don't need four different Catwomans. I just need one, right? For these characters anyway. Some characters I go a little crazy. Vader, Indy, Jack Sparrow, but just depends. We'll see what happens. I want to say these are Presents Toys. I bought this set off of a guy, sold them dirt cheap. I mean, he sold uh, pretty much the whole set here for like $80 shipped. And all I had to do was buy a second body to put together Andy Dufresne. I mean, I, that's a great deal for me. Another great movie. I don't need to spend like $1,000, $2,000 on per character for this film. Same thing with the Pulp Fiction. I just want it represented, and it works for what it needs to do. Now we'll get into some heavy hitters. Um, this obviously most people in the community know that Chronicle Collectibles, I think it was called, back when they were a thing, where they were going to release a 1/6 scale Alan Grant and Raptor set, and the retail was like $600. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's awesome. I mean, this one I need to have represented. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite Steven Spielberg movies. Steven Spielberg is probably my favorite director. Um, and I need to have Jurassic Park in the collection. So I was really gutted when we found out that Chronicle went belly up in bankruptcy, and these characters, this and Conan the Barbarian was another one I had was on order, and they got canceled. So, and by that point, I think there was already a custom run for an Alan Grant on the custom 1/6 group, and at the time, I think I had already missed the window to sign up for that, and there, of course, there was not going to be another second run of that either. So buddy of mine Tony, decided that he was going to put together a run for Alan Grant, and I'm like, I'm going to be on that. So G Wiz, this is a outfit by G Wiz, and then the head sculpt is by Rocco, and he actually did two head sculpts. There was one with the hat, which I got, and then the other one without a hat. Since this was the display I was going for, was kind of like a nonchalant, I'm a cool archaeologist type look. I decided that I was just going to go with the hat version, and so I got the head sculpt, and I sent it off to a painter in Italy named Alessio, and I think he did a really wonderful job. Took a while, but it came through. We got it. Andy reached out to me. He had an extra accessory set too. He's like, you want one? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, awesome, yeah. So I did. I got that, and then I'll tell you what was a pain in the ass though was this Raptor. Okay, uh, there is a custom artist in Mexico who goes by the name of Adele, right? Edel, and yeah, I got it. Can I recommend his work? No, yes and no. Uh, I ordered this piece back in May, and turnaround obviously in the long scheme of things when it comes to custom work, um, sometimes you're waiting years for stuff, and granted that wasn't the issue here. Um, the issue was miscommunication and gouging me on price with shipping and just lack of professionalism. I'm going to say. Uh, Ordered this in May. I wait about 2 weeks and nothing. So I reach out to him like, hey, when should I expect a tracking number for this? Now, granted, the Raptor itself was $800 plus $90 for shipping. So you're looking at almost $900 for this thing, right? And he finally reaches out and he says, it'll be done, or you'll get a tracking number when it's done. I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't state anywhere on the website that you were going to make these, right? I assume that since it was available, because I've been watching his work for a while, and this Raptor had gone up for sale before, and then it sold out, and then went up for sale again, and I'm like, oh, he must have one available, or someone backed out on one, and he's got one to send out. So I'm like, all right, I order it. And no, it turns out he makes these. Okay, that's fine. I'll wait. Right. I have no problem waiting when it's necessary. Right. And a couple months go by and still nothing. And I reach out to him. Long story short, he eventually ships it out on August. I want to say it was August 4th or 6th or something like that. And I'm like, cool. I should expect it pretty soon then. He gave me a tracking number, and I I wait a little. He's like, give it a few days, for it to show up on tracking. So you know how that works. So I wait a little bit. I wake up and it's like still said, nothing, nothing, nothing. So then I finally, after a week, I reached out to him like, hey, is this normal? And he's like, no, this isn't normal. So he's like, well, what ended up happening was it got held up in customs, Mexican customs. And well, first of all, he shipped it ground, Mexican post ground, right? You just shipped my $900 custom figure ground through Mexico. Okay. Even though you charged me $90 for shipping. Okay. So, long story short, I end up actually receiving the item about a month later. It's like September 14th, something like that. And sure enough, it's got a broken foot, right? It went through customs. They tore into the box. They messed with it. And he said that, oh, I'm sorry. I had a feeling this was going to happen. Well, why'd you ship my $900 figure through customs where you could have done DHL and probably not have this problem? You knew this was going to happen. You gouged me on price, $90 shipping. And that was another thing. The box said it was like 500 and some pesos, which equaled out to be like $28 or $29 USD for shipping. So he charged me triple the amount for shipping for this. So yeah, he's supposedly going to send me a new one, a replacement via DHL. I'm going to wait and see what happens. If he does send me a replacement and I get the replacement, then yeah, great. I recommend him. It's just you're going to have some headaches, but you do get your stuff and he does take care of you. But as of right now, I've had headaches. I paid overpriced for shipping that wasn't necessary. And he right now hasn't stood by his integrity of his work. So, but I'll post that on my Instagram. If he ever does come through, I'll post and tag him and give a congratulations, whatever. But just be wary if you are going to place an order with him. Warning signs. This is a custom made cloud, and this this is another thing too. Is like you play these gambles too. I put this custom together years before art figures, or not art figures, VTS and Game Toys ended up doing theirs, right? Had I known that, I would never have gone through the hassle of making my custom, right? But I'm still happy with it. I mean, the head sculpt I think is pretty good. Frank does excellent work. It looks straight out of the movie. The vest was done by 288, and I think the outfit is still by was it Super Duck Toys? I can't remember. Face and body paint was by Thomas Terbank, and the base was obviously the VTS that did that base from Adventure. Mars Toys Riddler. Obviously, this is pretty much like the only real pose that works with this sculpt, this expression, joygasm. But would have really been nice to have a like kind of a neutral expression for the set. And another thing I think would be really cool is if some of these companies like Mars Toys or whoever start doing either accessory or expansion sets to some of these. Like I said, these us collectors, we don't want to have to rebuy these figures over and over again. Like you keep doing these 2.0s or whatever with a new sculpt or whatever. Why don't you just issue the head sculpt, right? I get it. It's probably less profitable for the company to do that. But I think smaller companies like that, I think you could find a niche there that might work for a lot of collectors. You do your initial release figure, and then I know Asmus has done this in the past, and they've gotten both love and disdain for it. But like they offer upgradable head sculpts, right? Sometimes that's a great thing, not necessarily a bad thing to look into doing. Like I would love to have. I mean, especially with like something like the Riddler, Jim Carrey Riddler. You have he's so expressive in his mannerisms in any movie, but like even in Batman Forever, like you could easily do 5, 6, 7 different head sculpts with this dude and still have room for more, right? So Mandalorian, yep, again, TV series, but I'm going to tell you something. They are making a movie. They're making a movie, and I'm going to use that as that. So that's my excuse. This is actually the quarter scale Grogu. I got free with a purchase off Sideshow. It was the last Christmas. They did a certain eligible items you could buy. You could get a free quarter scale Grogu with it, and it was my Transformers Optimus Prime from Bumblebee 3.0, and I'm like, well, yeah, why not? At least this one has soft goods and posable, unlike the 1/6 scale one. Let's get this. So this one I've been after for a very long time. When this was first, okay, so Johnny Chunkinum, 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 I think. Anyway, outfit by 288, accessories by Robbie, the tiny ass props, Robbie Jones. Pretty amazing piece, really. And it gutted me to have to skip on this when it was first available because there was just two. I was already on, I think it was the ET set and the Cajun McGrady set was coming out around the same time. There was just too much on my plate at the time that I couldn't really afford to jump on another run like this. And so I've been, trying to get on it. Oh, and I think it was the J Customs Fright Night Jerry was also going around there too. So it was really, I couldn't get on it. So yeah, it took me a while. It was an expensive mistake on my part, as I paid premium for this. But there, like I said, there are some pieces that I'm willing to bend over for, and this is one of them. Obviously, Robin Williams is no longer with us, so that makes it a very cherished piece for a lot of people. It's kind of funny because I was asking, I was kind of hounding a lot of people. Some people were probably getting annoyed with me talking about it or trying to get, hey, if you know anybody selling, you let me know. Let me know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get off our backs about it, probably. But it's like I was actively searching since May for this piece, like hardcore looking, and I had a few people reach out saying they had one for sale, and I'm like, awesome. Well, and then there's this game of well, how much are you willing to pay for it? And then I'm like, well, what are you asking for it? And then they'd ghost me, right? Well, what do you want for it, right? And then they don't get back to me. Well, then later on, after I posted that I actually got one, the some of the people messaged back and they're like, "Oh, how much did you pay for it?" And I said X, Y, and Z. He's like, "Oh, well, I would have sold mine for X, Y, and Z." I'm like, "Well, you didn't say anything to me. You could have had my money, man." But whatever. Another guy was willing to let go, and I got it, and I'm happy. So this is another piece that, like, I'm with you with all the other people that got their sets, that they're not going to let this go. It ain't going anywhere. So I think this is the VTS, or I can't I think it's VTS or Game Toys. I can't remember which one did which now, but obviously Final Fantasy VII was a huge game in the 90s. I mean, those that grew up in video gamers like myself know, if you're an RPG fan, I mean, Final Fantasy was, whether you liked it or not, it was definitely the hype back then, and it's still one of my favorite games in the series. And with the remake and such, I was only, obviously I should have waited on the custom cloud, because I figured with the remakes something would have came anyway. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with these. I think you'll probably notice right here. I also have done it with a few other areas in the collection, but I removed the side panels to the details here in order to fit certain pieces into the collection. Like obviously the Raptor tail runs into Doubtfire's spot, and obviously Sephiroth's wing transcends across. So, and I did that. Same thing's going to happen over here with the Jaws set. The back of the Orca is going to be coming out towards the shark. So this is Presents Toys Mask. This is another one. This is a blatant ripoff of Denny Kim's custom piece that was made. And then, this is another hot topic in the collecting community. Shame on me for owning a Presents Toys or Redman Toys piece. If I was able to afford the custom at the time when the run was going, I would have probably jumped on it. Sometimes things happen, and no real excuse besides this was more affordable at the time. And would I spend $1,000 on the mask? $1,000 plus or whatever someone's asking. I don't know. If it was the only option, yeah, probably would have. But yeah, shame on me. But it is what it is. This was actually a gift too. I didn't actually spend any money on this one. Someone donated this to the collection. So I'm going to have it on display. Jack Skellington, this is a Medicom. And this, some things are just meant to be in the collection. Like this story here was, I had this back in the old house. I didn't have as much room as I do now. So a lot of it, I had to, kind of pick and choose. I had to be a little bit more picky about what I wanted in the collection. I had this figure. I knew it was selling for good money, so I ended up selling it. Sold it, shipped it out, and then the guy received it and said that the hip was broken, which it wasn't broken when I bought it, when I sent it out. Right here, this has been welded now. But anyway, yeah, it broke in transit somehow. And I did not have the original box anymore, so it possibly could have happened because of that. But anyway, he wanted a refund. I'm like, okay, fine. Send me the figure back. I'll refund you. And he sends it back. Well, then turned out I get a Hot Toys SWAT Gordon from The Dark Knight, right? And I was thinking that this was some sort of scam thing, right? Like thinking, well, he just wanted his money back and he wanted to do a trade or something like that. So then I'm thinking I just got bamboozled or, scammed out of something. So I'm like, what the, I message him back. I'm like, what's going on here? And turned out, I guess he had sold the SWAT Gordon to somebody, and somehow his wife mixed up the boxes with the labels, and I got the SWAT Gordon. So then I'm like, well, all right, I'll tell you what. You have the other guy send me my Jack Skellington back, and I have no problem sending him his SWAT Gordon, right? And so we ended up doing that. I got my Jack back, and this is a really weird scenario there, but yeah. So it's like, well, obviously, Jack was meant to stay in the collection, so he's been here ever since. Broken hip, but hey, whatever. It is what it is. Coming over to the other setup. We're clocking at about an hour and 15 minutes already, so this might end up being a part 2 and part 3 situation here. I was thinking I was just going to be able to get this done in 2 parts, but I don't think so. Sideshow, premium format, Boba Fett and Han and Carbonite. Another weird story about this setup is, again, when I was younger, I was a CNA, nursing assistant, so I didn't make a lot of money. Pretty average, and I would have always wanted to have some of the premium format pieces, and obviously they were way out of my price range at the time, which is funny is now they're even more expensive than, and I'm paying the prices of premium formats for the 1/6 now. But anyway, couldn't afford the original Boba Fett premium format. And I'm thinking, well, maybe someday I'll get one. And then they announced they did a second premium format with Fett, and they did a premium format of the Han and Carbonite, separate pieces. And both of them I had ordered. Both of them I was planning on getting. Both of them I had done several flex pay payments on it. But for some reason, I had to cancel them, get my money back, because there's some stupid life thing going on that made me have to cancel, right? So I was always like, God dang it, I never. And then they announced this one, which I think is mind-bogglingly better than either one of those original ones they did. I really love how the Carbonite block is keyed into Fett, and Fett is leaning up against him, making it look like, the Carbonite piece is sitting or floating in the air like that. I really love that. And it's LED powered USB powered, which is nice. Finally, companies are starting to utilize that. But yeah, I was like, no, this one's definitely going to have to be got up this time. Uncle Bob on the Harley, Fat Boy. Kind of sounds. Sorry about that. I had to free up some space on my phone. So, Fat Boy T800 or T800, Uncle Bob on Fat Boy T800. Kind of sounds like we're gonna be getting a new one again, 2.0 clean T800 from Hot Toys. This was I want to say this was caustic plastic before they got the license for Sly stuff, and then I had Rhino Dioramas make me a base for it, which he got dethroned from his Rocky spot in the collection for now. Franklin Mint Marilyn Monroe piece from my wife. She's a Marilyn Monroe fan. This is the Blitzway Marilyn Monroe, also my wife's. Premium format Christopher Reeve Superman. Another controversial sculpt. I know a lot of people don't like this. I dig it. I don't mind it. I mean, could it be better? Yeah, it could be. Is it a little bit idealized Reeve? Yeah, but it still feels like Reeve to me. Like just the pose and the smile and the look of it. Asmus Toys Legolas with real hair. I did. Soon to be obsolete. Maximus General, or General Maximus from Gladiator. My old Hot Toys modded Sweeney Todd head sculpt. Edward Scissorhands. Transformers, Bumblebee, Optimus Prime. This thing's absolutely amazing. Just a real crazy piece. I just love the design of the original Gen 1 Transformers. This is how he should have looked from the very first movie. Doomslayer Mondo. I did have him on display for a little bit, but since it was really hard to get any real action pose or any type of pose really at all from him, I decided to box him back up. This is going to be my Marvel setup, and for those that have been following me on my channel and Instagram since the old house, I used to have a setup where I had my comic books up on the wall, and I had a whole set of Marvel figures. I kind of did away with that after a while. I got hung up in the hype of the MCU for a little bit, and I was buying characters that I didn't really feel as close to as like when I was a kid, right? Like Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't really have any sentimental value to those characters. I had Groot and Star-Lord, and I just decided to, with the size, like having issues with space, I decided to downsize my MCU. But now that I have more space, I decided I'm going to take that MCU setup Marvel, or the Marvel setup up again, and try and obviously I have some other characters coming, like Wolverine in the yellow suit finally coming out with Deadpool and Wolverine, another Deadpool, going to add Black Widow again, see what happens. I really do. I was going to try and stay away from the comic styled ones and just stick with the movie ones, right? Again, movie based, and keep with the comic stuff with like the Marvel Legends that I have in my storage room. But some of those Hano pieces are really starting to Hono or Hano is really starting to impress me, like the Iron Man, the Doctor Doom, and then looks like we're getting a classic comic style Venom. It's gonna be really hard to say no to some of those pieces. This is obviously a classic suit Spider-Man. God, if they do a comic style Hulk, which I'm sure they're going to, that's gonna be tough to pass up on that. So, and I've done a video before talking about this. This is wrapping around the first half of this area here is my what I call a movie figure timeline. I was born in 1981, so technically I was going to have it start with Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. But I need to have Empire Strikes Back represented for 80, and having Dances with Wolves for 90 and X-Men for 2000. I had to, so I'm kind of cheating my timeline a little bit as far as what I had originally planned to do. Waruna's sculpt for Indy, painted by Waruna. You can't really see it on here, but if you zoom, my fedora came cracked in half, or in the top build part was broken. He says he's going to make me a new one, send me a new one, so I'm looking forward to getting that, and I can destroy this fedora when I get it. Again, yeah, we've been really spoiled. Indie fans have been really spoiled the last couple of years for some really incredible sculpts coming out from several different artists, and it's like it's crazy how like years go by or decades go by, and we're like stuck with like some okay ones, and then you get a banger, and then you get another banger, and then you got like I think there's like 5-6 good sculpts out right now that of indie or coming out that any one of those sculpts, in my opinion, I mean, everybody has their own personal opinion. That's which one's the quote unquote best, the Grail sculpt. I don't think it's as black and white anymore. It's more kind of subtle across the board with what people's preferences are. And the way Ford's face is, it's just, he can look completely different depending on which reference photos you're using, based on sculpting. So, and the paint helps too. Like you got to have a good painter to get that Ford likeness to pop. Monkey I made myself. I don't even remember where I got the little monkey from, but I made a little vest and the haired the monkey, and I made the little basket in the base. And the arc is by Tiger Shark Collectibles Studios. Really amazing piece. It's real wooden dowels and fabric for the handles, 3D printed. If I had any little bit of nitpick, it would be that it could be a little shinier gold, I think. But other than that, I'm good with it. Definitely beats paying crazy prices for that Hasbro one. That's cheap looking. This Blitzway head sculpt of Hannibal on I want to say it's a World Box body, and I can't remember the name that did the figure that came with the blue outfit. But this was the look of Hannibal that I wanted really to be represented. I know Blitzway did the gurney look and the white outfit, and I mean the gurney look is obviously iconic. There's no doubt about that. But it's just, this is how I want Hannibal represented right here. This is Asmus Gandalf with a custom head sculpt on it, haired. I had this head sculpt done, or I got it off eBay, I believe it was, and used it for my Sideshow Gandalf for years before Asmus even started making Lord of the Rings figures. I think it still holds up pretty good. Would I like to get another InArt to replace this? Yes, absolutely. I just paying almost double the price for it is not really, I don't really want to do that either. So I'm going to see if prices go down. If not, I'll hang on to this one. Sucker Punch baby doll. Not really much to say about that one. Now this is the other second part of the ET set. I made the base. The figure was obviously all made by Andy, painted, and there's a wire setup, battery operated in there. You can light up the finger and the chest. Waiting for William Money from Sideshow. Another one that I think, I mean, it could definitely have been better, but it's one of those figures that's like you probably won't ever see again. It's like another company make it. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Another one where you take a gamble and you get the one that's released and see what happens. This is a NECA Golem, quarter scale, so it's not 1/6, but can't deny that sculpt. Such a great one. I know Asmus was planning to do some more head sculpts for Gollum and Smeagol, kind of like a sneering one like this. I think it was one of them. I would definitely replace this one with that one with a Gollum if they do it. Like this Gollum down here with that head sculpt would be awesome. The Hobbit, Martin Freeman, Asmus, Bilbo. He looks like he's bored being here. I mean, I have been told my videos are boring, so maybe he's just expressing himself. I would have really liked to see a smiling sculpt of Bilbo here, just to show his lightheartedness. Would have been better. So this is one of the Hot Toys Jedi Lukes with a custom head sculpt by Inigo Gill, painted by Nathan. Custom lightsaber. Base was by Display Heroes. Third party Slave Leia. And again, here we assume that we're never going to see an official Slave Leia, so you pretty much have to get what you get. Take what you get from third party when you can. Now watch, Hot Toys will do one and be like, oh, look at that. Oscar Schindler from Schindler's List. Likeness quite isn't there, but it's could be better. I would really like to have this figure in black and white though. Like that would be really neat. This is Asmus Aragorn. With a real leather duster jacket, trench coat. So it's not to poo on Asmus or poo on those that like this sculpt, but it's so hard to, like, before the InArt I was like, that's a solid Aragorn, that's a solid Vigo. But now it's like looking at the InArt and looking at this, it's like, God dang, it's so crazy how you can see something and look at it and be like, wow, that's really good, that's incredible, that's the best it's going to get, and then something comes out later and you're like, wow, it just shows you how badly the other one was, or in comparison, the flaws versus the new one. I wouldn't mind seeing what this head sculpt would look like with real hair, because I mean it's still a solid, and a repaint. Like the likeness is, the sculpt is pretty decent. I like the expression he's making, but seeing it with new paint and real hair, you might actually have a pretty solid looking figure there. Now the Anduril here is die-cast. It was from Art Figures The King. I like the scale of this sword better than the Asmus one. but the only problem is this one does not have the engraving on the blade. So like here, I'll take it. So here's the Asmus one with the engraving. Probably can't pick that up, but the engraving's on the sword, but it's super small. And this also die cast. CC Toys, Last of Us, Joel and Ellie. These are obviously based off the game. I'm not a fan of what the casting they did with the TV show. I love those actors. I think they're great actors. There's just certain roles to me that if I don't buy them as the characters, or I don't see it as if I don't see them as the characters, it doesn't work for me. I get pulled out of it. So and unfortunately, Last of Us for me, like Pedro Pascal, he's a great actor. Ramsey, Bella Ramsey, she's a great actress too. She was great in Game of Thrones. I loved her in Game of Thrones. But then I don't see her as Ellie. The girl that they got to play Abby for season 2 would have been, in my opinion, better suited or look-wise to play Ellie. And that's my hot take, and that's my hill I'm going to die on. I'm not a fan. But the games, obviously my favorite video game of all time. I don't want to really collect a lot of video game characters, but I feel like this is pretty damn close to a movie. My favorite video game of all time, and I couldn't really think of a good movie to put in the 2013 spot. So I thought, well, The Last of Us is obviously probably The Last of Us video game is probably the best entertainment I had in 2013 as far as film and video games and stories go. So that's why this is represented in the collection. For Ellie though, you had to buy a separate body because hers was like a kit that you had to buy the body separate for. And then also again, Rhino Dioramas made the base based off of the old statue that they did for the game, limited edition game. Blitzway, Peter Venkman, Ghostbusters. I know some people are saying, well, you should have all 4 of them. Yeah, I probably should. You can't really have, you have to have all 4 Ghostbusters, same as you'd have to have all 4 Ninja Turtles to me. But I don't know if I'd like the idea of having all 4 of them in there, right? So if I do end up getting another one, it would be Ray. Have Venkman and Ray together. Does sound like they're going to be reissuing these again, so might get a chance to pick up Ray at some point. I don't know. Otherwise, I'm just fine with keeping Venkman and that's it. I'm not a huge Bill Murray fan, but pretty much the only role I like him in is Ghostbusters and What About Bob. Also, you might notice too, I've got a theme going on for the 90s. All best pictures running across here, except for 2. Well, 3 actually. Wait, 1, 2, 3. The 90s for me was, I mean, I loved movies growing up my entire life, but it wasn't. I started in the 90s. I started maturing, and I started liking a lot more mature films. Forrest Gump, Unforgiven, Braveheart, Titanic, Saving Private Ryan. These are movies that spoke to me on a level as I was growing up, and it was actually, I think it might have actually been the Academy Awards in 1991 when Bill Cosby hosted and came out in the Hannibal Lecter gurney, and he obviously Silence of the Lambs won Best Picture. I think that might have been the very first time I actually sat down and watched the Oscars. So the 90s has always been kind of for me, in my opinion, has the best lineup of the best pictures out of any decade, in my biased opinion. Like that's when I started looking at film more of actual like as film instead of just entertainment, like and I started getting to know actors and actresses' names and directors and what have you. It was started in the 90s for me. And obviously, Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump, one of my favorite characters, also in my top 10. This one was the sculpt was done by Inigo Gil again, and painted by Nathan again. And this set, the clothing set and everything was from that or DJ Customs, I think. So it's not a tailoring custom set, although maybe someday I'd like to get that, either Iris or Yunsel's setup. And then of course I missed the boat on the Doggy Doc Designs briefcase setup. Maybe someday, if finances and availability, come together. William Wallace from Braveheart. This is actually it's a combination of Pop Toys and the I Mini Me setup. That's real leather studded armor there. I'm spacing on the name of it, and the bracelet, seamless arms, die-cast metal sword. I kind of just took the pieces I liked the best from each set. And this is kind of a, sometimes you get a really good Mel Gibson look, and then sometimes you don't. It's just, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Hair work is really great on it. I know there was a custom head sculpt done not that long ago, maybe like last year or a year and a half ago. I missed out on that one, sculpt-wise. It was like, I wouldn't mind trying to hunt that down at some point. That's by far the best. From my understanding, there will be a Carl Showalter custom figure at some point in the future, custom run. If not, I mean, I'm hoping to get on board on that run. If not, I will. I'll custom my own piece. Obviously, 1996 Best Picture was English Patient. I don't know how the hell that happened. It should have been Fargo, easy. And I love Steve Buscemi's character in that, even though he's a dirtbag in it. It's great performance. This is pretty much a placeholder for Jack Dawson, Leonardo from Titanic. I'm still waiting for a good quality figure to be made of him and Rose. One of the highest grossing films of all time, obviously, was the highest grossing film for a long time. How can you not have Titanic represented? Saving Private Ryan was also robbed of Best Picture to Shakespeare in Love. Again, that's a question marks over my head. What the fuck moment to Hollywood there. Harvey Weinstein must have finagled that somehow. But yeah, one of, if not probably my favorite World War II movie. Incredible. I love it. Hot Toys Matrix, Neo, Keanu Reeves. This is another one that's completely stock. I actually haven't done anything to him either. I know there's been people that have done custom figure runs of him. I mean, growing up in the 90s, this movie was hot back in the day. Like this was probably one of the most popular films. First one anyway. Second one and third one kind of, I don't know, they kind of shit the bed on it. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with the first one. I'm so glad Hot Toys ended up doing it, because I don't know if I really want to have put up the money for a custom piece. But again, it's one of those situations where like no other option out there. I guess you probably would. I know there's some people that have done like better custom glasses, custom outfit, custom head sculpt. For me, personally, the stock Hot Toys does it just fine for me. Uh, 2000 Best Picture Gladiator. Maximus. So this sculpt was done by Dean Tolliver. I think really great. I know he did two different versions. He did the neutral one here, and then he also did a screaming one, like "Are you not entertained?" I decided to go with neutral, more museum pose. Painted by 357 Apartment, just because I had seen one of theirs that they had done of it for another collector, and I was like, wow, that looks really good. So I went with them, I should say. And then Feist and Body, got it, Ponga Toys, Armor and Tunic. The chainmail on the sleeve and the skirt were done by a high school friend of mine, Cassandra. So I appreciate her helping me out on that. And I think I just realized I skipped over all of the 80s stuff, almost. Go back over here to Back to the Future. So obviously all of this is Hot Toys. Just kidding. This head sculpt is not Hot Toys. Shame on you, Hot Toys, for giving us the exact same head sculpt that you did with Part 2, Doc Brown. What were you thinking? So, yeah, we went with a custom third-party head sculpt here. Googly-eyed Doc Brown. In my opinion, this really gets Christopher Lloyd's likeness. Like, great Scott, like, just bang. I need to shave this down though and do real hair at some point. I'm both. It's like I know I can do it, but some like part of me, like every time I do a herring project, it's like I'm excited and I'm also terrified that I'm gonna fuck it up somehow. It's pretty straightforward, but it's just you need to be patient, and sometimes I'm not patient, but. I mean, it is, but yeah, it would look way better with the real hair. Marty, I decided this was a situation where 2.0 didn't do it for me. I didn't care about the upgrade to the 2.0 that they did with Marty. I decided just to stick with the original one. For some reason, I mean, I know Michael J. Fox has a certain look, and like I know this isn't 100%, and I know the 2.0 isn't 100% either. But it's just for some reason I feel Marty there for some reason. Like it works for me. One of the greatest sci-fi films of all time, Aliens, James Cameron. I'm still waiting for a quality Ellen Ripley from this film. Kind of boggles my mind that it hasn't been done yet. Hot Toys did a very dollish version back when I first started collecting. I actually had the power loader and the first release they did with the power loader and her, and it was great for what it was, but it wasn't realistic enough for me. I ended up selling it. I also had the 1.0 of the Aliens, Alien 2, the Alien Warrior, which in my opinion was actually better than the 2.0 here. Again, you could get into more dynamic crouching poses with the 1.0 or the first one. This you're kind of limited with the amount because of the seamless body being what it is. But yeah, I definitely need Ellen Ripley yet. Inconceivable. I'm spacing on the name that did this figure. Anyway, there was plans for Inigo Montoya as well, but that seemed to have gotten thrown to the wayside, I think. I definitely want a Princess Buttercup at some point to have the two together. Dread Pirate Roberts, Wesley, and Buttercup. Preferably in the red dress would be good. Maybe when I decide that I've gotten everything I want or gotten everything I can in the collection, and I can go back and kind of fill in some of the cracks and crevices, like maybe I'll commission somebody to do a Buttercup and commission someone to do a Rose or something from. I don't know why I think companies are afraid to do female characters for the most part, side characters, because most of the collectors in this community are male, and they don't think they want a female Barbie-like character. I don't know what the reason is, but it would seem like it would only make sense that they should have done Buttercup with Dread Pirate Roberts Wesley. It's like yin and yang, peanut butter and chocolate. It just makes sense. Just actually picked this up off eBay last week. It's the Regal Cinemas popcorn bucket. Size-wise, I don't know. It might be a little bit big. I've seen some promo pictures where it's relatively would be right scale-wise, but then I've seen some pictures where it looks like there's a little bit smaller. So it looks like it's kind of a, I don't know. We'll see how it goes when Sideshow Beetlejuice drops. Hot Toys, Jack Nicholson Joker, 89, Batman. Only thing I really did with this one was I added real hair to his head sculpt. I felt the stock hair was a little bit too flat looking, and it was too dark. I wanted to go with the more brighter color green that was like in the promo images of the film. And obviously in the background you can kind of see it was a little bit brighter color green in some of the scenes versus some of the other scenes. Art figures, Edward Scissorhands. This is also so Hot Toys did one years ago with absolutely zero likeness to Johnny Depp, and I don't know why they did that, but obviously people bought it, updated it, got custom head sculpts. I had gotten one and modded it with a Sweeney Todd head sculpt with real hair. But this Art Figures did this, and it just absolutely wow. Like as far as like likenesses go, probably one of the best likenesses that I have in the collection, in my opinion. Figure itself, what could make this figure better could be like, again, I'm not huge on diecast, so it's not a big deal. Like doing real metal, scissors would have been nice, buckles would have been nice in metal. Obviously, I can't remember what they said about this, if this was a fake leather or not, pleather. I think someone said it was like a nylon-y material, and it almost looks like it. But then Art Figures, I think we got this figure a year ago or 2 years ago, and then Art Figures just announced they're doing their own artisan line with Edward Scissorhands with real hair. So I'm glad I didn't send this head sculpt off to be haired now. People ask me about my hand back there that I made myself. I bought a cheap plastic hand for jewelry off Amazon. It was like a white hand. Cut it down a little bit. This is a wooden box, like a keepsake box with jewelry and stuff. Added dirt, like not real dirt, but like a Mod Podge with some fake dirt in there, and then I glued the flowers in there. Tried to get it as screen accurate as I could. The bunny was, you could pick that up at Hobby Lobby anytime during the spring. So this is a Star Ace Harry Potter. Before InArt came on board and started wowing us with their pieces, I thought this was a really excellent, well done figure. As far as their Star Ace's work has steadily gotten worse as production lines gone by. Like I don't know why that is. It's like most companies, they get better as they go, but like if you want a definitive Harry Potter, to me, in my opinion, it's year one Harry, and this one was a great figure. I think Goblet of Fire was a pretty good one too that they did, but a lot of their stuff just got to become a mess, and I'm glad InArt came on board to give us more options. Let's see how deep they go with the license franchise. As for me, I like Potter. I like Harry Potter and the world of it. I don't need a lot of characters from the film though, or the books. So I just need one character, and obviously Harry is it. The InArt version should be coming actually. It shipped from 1/6 kit last week, I think it was. So it should be coming. I'll probably have it next week sometime. What I'm going to do with this one, I don't know yet. Probably end up selling it. Or maybe I'll do like a free giveaway on my Instagram or something, if anybody wants it. So now, some people, like, whenever there's a remake of a movie that comes out, everyone's got to compare it to the original. And obviously, in this sense, Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think it still stands on its own fairly well. I obviously, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Gene Wilder is it's genius. It's pure genius, and it's perfect. The movie's perfect, like the way it is. Like you can't everything about it. I love it. You couldn't get a better Wonka with Gene Wilder. With that being said, I'm also a Johnny Depp fan, and I'm a Tim Burton fan, and I think this is weird enough in its own way to stand on its own 2 feet. Like it can be separated from the other one. I don't mind. I can still watch this one just fine, as I can watch the original, the '71 original. So it's just whatever I'm feeling like, for the day or the time, So this figure itself is actually was originally a Medicom with I took an Hot Toys Ichabod Crane head sculpt, cut off the top of the head and the hair, and added real hair, the goggles, and the hat from the Medicom figure, and made this figure. And so Mars Toys is apparently teasing that they're going to be making one of these too. So I'll probably replace this with that at some point. What's funny is probably like 5-6 years ago, when I first made this figure, I had someone actually offer me $1,500 for it. And he just kept going up in price over and over. And I'm like, guy, I don't want to sell it. It's not for sale. If something's not for sale, it doesn't matter how much money you're going to throw at me. I'm probably most likely not going to sell it. It's in the collection for a reason. I have it here for a reason. So if you're that guy that might still follow me or know me or watching this right now, Mars Toys is making one. You can save some money. Or you can sell, I'll sell you this one for $1,500 now, buddy. This is my another one of my Jack Sparrows. Had this in another display a while back. But I felt like I had room in the timeline to put Jack back into the timeline, so I decided to do that for 2006. I'm still waiting for Hot Toys. I am skipping on the artisan of the Dead Man Tell No Tales. I feel like it's kind of too little too late with that one. Like, it looks great. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but it's like, I don't want Dead Man Tell No Tales. I don't even want On Stranger Ties. I want artisan version of Curse of the Black Pearl. Number one would be my biggest want, or Dead Man's Chest, or At World's End. Those the first three movies, Hot Toys. Those are the ones the fans want. So that's what you guys should be doing. Maybe there's a licensing issue thing there going on, why they wouldn't have done it yet. But yeah, one of those three, if they do that, that would be a day one pre-order for me. Artisan. No Country for Old Men, Anton Chigurh. This is another Best Picture, actually, and that's pretty much why I have it in the collection. Obviously, a great performance too. I mean, he did a really good job in the movie. Might seem kind of out of place with the other lineup of these films here, but that's why, it's just because it's Best Picture and Best Supporting Actor. So for the longest time, everyone coveted the DX11 Joker. That was like the number one, without excluding any custom figures, of course. You know, and InArt comes on board, and then everyone's like, the DX11 sucks, and or the InArt sucks, and whatever have you. You know, he may have gotten dethroned from the InArt over in the main area, but I decided I still wanted to keep this figure, because I did the hair rooting myself on it, and I think it still holds up pretty well. So I decided to do this interrogation scene look for my 2008 section of the movie timeline. Avatar. This is another example of, I'm not a huge fan of this film, this series. I know people say it's Pocahontas or Dances with Wolves in space, and they're right. I haven't even seen the second movie yet. I'm not a fan. My son's girlfriend is a huge fan, so she's probably going to be mad at me for saying that, but it's the truth. The reason I have it is highest grossing film of all time, again. It needs to be represented in the collection for the significance. And it as far as the figure goes, it is pretty impressive with the dreads and the feathers and what have you. I actually, and the only reason I did get this, besides the significance, is that guy that was selling it was sold it dirt cheap. It was like, so original retail I think was like $315 was for it, and at the time I'm like, I ain't paying that for that. And but this guy was selling this for, it was like total, it was like 150 shipped was what it was, and it was because he had a broken shoulder. So I glued the shoulder, this shoulder here can't move, and I think it's that shoulder. It's been so long ago now, but for $150, I'll have it in the collection and represented. (2010) Iron Man 2. I'm kind of cheating here, and I'm using the Iron Man Tony Stark's head sculpt from the Mark III 2.0, just because it's such a solid Robert Downey Jr. head sculpt. I know that joint is ugly, but I think I've seen someone do actually do a Fison body with their arc reactor in the chest. That's pretty impressive But how would you do that plus the arm? I don't know. That'd be a lot of work. I'm sure someone's probably done it. I just don't want to. So head down here. Sorry, this is all messed up. I don't know how I got out of whack. Toys era Magneto. I know this isn't the right uniform outfit he wears for Days of Future Past, but sometimes I do things. I just do things. But Michael Fassbender actually turned out to be a really incredible Magneto, I think. Definitely the highlight of the First Class and Days of Future Past, in my opinion, was Michael Fassbender. And I love Magneto too, so I mean, you can't really go wrong there. 2014 film. 2015 Mad Max. And it's kind of funny. I love Tom Hardy for as an actor. I think he's a really good actor. I originally did not like the idea of him playing Max. Obviously, that's Mel Gibson, and you're not going to replace Mel Gibson. And so when I first watched Fury Road, I'm like, I was kind of indifferent towards it. I was like, whatever, I'll have it on. And I watched it, or I had it on in the background. I was like, it's okay, whatever, you know. And then I felt like I needed to give it another chance because of the reviews and people talking about it. And so then I actually sat down and watched it from beginning to end, and I was like, holy shit, this is an amazing film. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like, God, you know how much, I mean, obviously it'd be amazing if it was Mel Gibson, but obviously you can't have Mel Gibson because he's too old to be in that type of role. So it's like you kind of just have to accept some things as the passage of time happens. You just recasts happen, things happen, you know. So as far as in my opinion though, I might even go as far as say that I think Fury Road is the best film in the entire saga, as far as like even the old movies. Granted, like I know, like the first three movies were good, but it's like they're dated, and yeah, it's just my opinion is I think Fury Road might be, I mean, as far as if I'm going to pop a movie in to watch, it's probably going to be Fury Road from that saga, just because it's so much fun to watch. (2016) Civil War, Captain America: Civil War, Steve Rogers. So I ended up, so 2016, we were in Disney World at the time when this movie came out, and I took my oldest boy to it in the theater while we were at Disney World. So that's, I mean, aside from it's already being a good movie, that's why it's represented. So here we have Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Homecoming. 2017 film. I love that this was like big time hype, was finally getting Spider-Man in the MCU, right? It was like a big deal. And I do like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I don't know if I would go as far to say he's aged as well in that role with the films as I would have hoped to. I guess the movies have kind of, with how things ended up with Endgame or Infinity War, then Endgame, and then the way they've opened up with the multiverse and stuff. I don't know if Tom Holland is like my Spider-Man. You know, like I might have to go back to Tobey Maguire as my Spider-Man, right? So. Which is kind of weird because I don't have Tobey in the collection anymore. I did when I had my old Marvel setup, But it just because that was my first. I mean, obviously that was the first big time Spider-Man movie. It was Tobey, and you can't go wrong with the OG, right? When it comes to stuff like that. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, especially in the first movie and Civil War. But it's kind of gone in a different direction than I would have liked to see it go, I guess. Josh Brolin as Thanos, Infinity War. Obviously, I'm kind of cheating a little bit with having him in this full armor here instead of the Infinity War look, but this is the look of Thanos, right? That everyone is mostly iconic with. I know people say, well, no, the Infinity War look is more iconic. This is pretty much the look he had as in the comics, made into the movie, which is what I was wanting. Endgame, Iron Man, Tony Stark. Yeah, I bet you Hot Toys sold tons of these. Like you're starting to see these for discounts everywhere, and they can't get rid of them. Like this and Endgame Cap, I think they overproduced big time. I still love it. It's still iconic to me. Years from now, this is going to be like, it's going to be like, I'm not going to say it's going to be like Empire Strikes Back level iconic, but this will be up there for sure. Years, decades to come, people will be like, oh my God, yeah, this was, So, still can't believe they killed him though. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. Another war movie that really spoke to me. I really love this film, and the way they shot it, as it being a one continuous take. I know obviously it wasn't the very first time they've done something like that. There's been other movies that have done that too, but the way it was filmed, it was just so amazing. I loved it, and the acting and the feel for it was just amazing. And I'm glad that I think this was DID that did this. About the dioramas, can't remember where I got the first one. Second one I got from Big Bad Toy Store because they had to refund me for credit for something, and I can't remember what it was, but I decided to use that money to get the second one. So it kind of looks like the trench he's walking down. Alrighty, on to the horror section. Another part of the big custom case I got was I wanted something that was going to be deep enough to display this 1/6 scale tent. So when I told my brother-in-law to make it, I gave him the dimensions of the tent, and it's literally the reason why it's so deep, because it goes back like 18 inches, almost 2 feet, 20 inches. Although it did kind of mess up my plans though, because he ended up making it not only deeper, but he also made it taller. So this one here is actually taller than the ones over here. And my original plan was, see how I have my movies lined up underneath there? I was going to do the same thing here, but they're all going to be like my horror movies were all going to be lined up here. Missed opportunity. Not much I can do about it. And I wasn't. I mean, could I have had an issue with it? Yeah, I could have. But I'm not going to complain about it. It is what it is. I ended up doing something different. I have some of my boxes here. These are some knick-knack pieces and stuff I need to find places for. So yeah. A lot of people ask me about this Myers porch. This was all scratch build. I made this a few years ago for my Myers. Um, Hindsight, I would have probably made it a little bit bigger. Like the height of it could have gone up some. I mean, obviously Myers isn't even big enough for, or the door isn't even big enough for Myers. He's got to hunch down. So not complete scale, but situation where it is what it is. Got it done. And the tent, it's kind of funny. I was at Shields. This was years ago now, and they had these tents lined up kind of diagonally on display, so you could like look at the design of the tent before you buy it. And I was like, man, I was asking one of the employees, like, where could I, would you guys sell this? Or like, no, we don't sell these. So then I literally looked. That day I looked on eBay to see if they had something like that, and funny enough, there was a guy selling one. It was like for like $50, and it was actually the 1988 model tent that was on display for Shields. It's the same Shields branded tent for sale that day. 1988 model. What's funny is New Blood, Friday the 13th, Part 7 New Blood came out in 1988. So, I mean, it works, right? Kind of same year tent, same model tent. My Friday the 13th NES game back there. So my NECA Ultimates. So these are the old Kenner toys that I had growing up in the 90s. Obviously these aren't my exact ones I had. The ones I have are long gone. These are ones I rebought. But yeah, I remember sending away for this guy. So I'm running out of space, and making room for some of these new additions, I got rid of my one D12 that had my Universal Monsters in it. Either they can stay up here where I have them above everybody, or if in the future, if I find a really good deal or a free D12s in the future, what's funny is this area right here behind this, the actual width of this here equals out to be 3 D12s. So if I end up getting any more D12s, that is where it would go. They would go here, and I'm going to make up all these right here would be Universal Monsters stuff, because we got Caustic Plastic doing Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Invisible Man, the Wolf Man, the Mummy. I believe they're doing a Creature from the Black Lagoon. They've got obviously the Phantom of the Opera and Lon Chaney from London After Midnight coming out. So I got plenty of space or plenty of characters that could fill that space up if I end up going that route. This was our old TV from our townhome, which has been in our bedroom for quite a while until we just recently got a new TV in our living room, and then the TV from the living room went into our bedroom. So I was like, well, what am I going to do with this TV? So I thought I'd mount it back here in the horror section, kind of like an old VHS store. You know, they'd always have movies playing on TVs and stuff. So like what I'm going to do is, like, on my days off or whatever, if I'm going to be chilling out down here, I'll pick a movie and pop it in the VCR and then play it all day, you know, play it till it's done, rewinds, pop it back in, play it again, rewinds. You know, I've actually done that with Scream quite a bit yesterday. Scream again, but yeah. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm waiting for Ash's Chainsaw to come. that'll be going right there. I'll move the pumpkin. Let's see, obviously people have seen this before. I decided to do something like this for Indy. Shortly after I moved into this house, I decided to do like a little mannequin type thing of Indy. I was also thinking, man, sometimes my mind goes a little crazy thinking, oh, I could do Vader, I could do Back to the Future Marty. I saw one of Marty with the life preserver, you know, the vest and stuff on there. God, that'd be cool. I could do them on this side and whatever. You get, your mind starts going. It's like, pump the brakes a little bit. I don't know if I need to do all this 1:1 scale stuff, right? I mean, I'm already taking up all this space the way it is. I don't know if I can really go the 1:1 scale stuff. Kane Productions was selling this a while back. Decided to sell it. It's just a Trick or Treat Studios Captain Kirk mask that he made into the Myers mask, which makes sense, right? He sold it for like $100 shipped. So I was like, I used to have a Myers mask and it got ripped and demolished, and I had to get rid of it. So I'm glad to have a new Myers mask again. Obviously Hasbro's FET helmet. I haven't decided what I'm going to put down here yet, so right now I just have my Best Picture VHS tapes in there. That's obviously temporary. I'm not going to keep them there. But I do kind of like this setup with the Ghostface mask and the horror VHS. And if I continue to get more horror VHS, I might do the same thing up here with Myers. But we'll see see what happens. Steelbooks I have mounted here with a magnetic tape. Same thing over here. And I'm not a super anal collector as far as when it comes to like damage on things, right? Like, you know, you hear about people they get a steelbook in the mail and they're like, oh, this is bullshit, man. This is look at this little scratch on the corner or on the little ding on the back. It's like, dude, I mean, I can empathize with some of you guys about, you know, wanting mint pieces and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you're collecting these for why? Is it for your enjoyment? If it's for your enjoyment, then why do you care, right? If you're doing it just for a money source or like an investment, go invest somewhere else with this stuff. It's not meant to be an investment. It's supposed to be fun. The hobby in itself. I think a lot of times people forget that it's supposed to be fun, and it becomes a chore, or not a chore, but like just a hassle, or dealing with things, or dealing with people, getting upset with people, angry with people over toys, expensive things. You know, we all end up in the grave at the end, and everybody's grave's the same. You know, we all end up in the same place at the end of the day. So we're at the end of it. So chill out, enjoy it, have fun. So yeah. Myers, the shape. This is Harper's latest piece, painted and haired by him. Yunsel coveralls. I think I can't remember. It was like one of the last runs. I don't know which one it is, but I did not get the 2.0. I'm kind of itching that I want it, but it's like, you know, other things got to take priority before, you know, maybe if I got things line up, you know, down the road, I'll get it. But otherwise, I'm fine with the 1.0 or the last run. This is a modded sideshow with Kane Productions mask, hockey mask. I know it says Friday the 13th final chapter, but it's the part 3 look. Final chapter, I like that cover art better than the part 3. That's why that's there. I got 3D glasses there. So little story on this, and thank you for Kane for doing this, because I really appreciate it. When I bought the Myers mask, I had him do me a new certificate because, and it's actually, he did the number wrong. It's actually 1 of 13, not 1 of 15. But the original COA that I had, my daughter, I don't know how she got a hold of it, why she got a hold of it, but she decided to color yellow all over it. And so I had this COA that had her drawing all over it. I still have that somewhere around here, but yeah. Ireton Studios Freddy sculpt on a modded sideshow. I'm gonna be frank with some of this too. Is like I called out Adele on the Raptor. Ireton does a really good job. Like, that's probably one of the best Kruger likenesses, or Robert Englund's likeness I've seen. And he's done a few different ones, like the screaming or laughing sculpt. I've seen the part 1 sculpt. This one's more like Dream Warriors part 3. Dude needs to work on his communication. It's garbage. I'm sorry. You need to communicate with your clients, right? If I'm your client, if I'm your customer, and I reach out to you and ask XYZ, and I get nothing back for days, weeks, months, and since I was a brand new customer, like this is the first time I've ordered from you, I mean, maybe I should be a priority. I don't want to sound entitled, but I don't know if I'm even going to get my stuff. I sent you money, and I think I just threw it away, right? So, and I know there's a few other people that have the same issue. So communicate, right? It's not that hard. We live in the day and age where we got Facebook, Instagram, text message. It's not hard to communicate with people, right? I mean, just let them know. Even if it was like, hey, sorry, it's taken a while, or hey, it's still coming, I'm busy. Just checking in makes a huge difference for these collectors. And I'll be a spokesman. I've said this to other collectors, custom artists in the community, and I've really gone down their fucking throat about it. And that some of these custom artists, they sit for months, years, literally years, waiting for or not producing what they said they're going to do, and I've chimed in on a few things on the forum and on Facebook or whatever. It's like it should be a mutual respect, It's like someone's willing to give you money, a lot of money, to make something, right? And then you're just gonna wait years to produce. Like what? Like, how is that even? Like, I couldn't do that with my job. Like any other normal job, like if you're not producing, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you lose your job. They fire you. So it should be no different. I get that, life comes up, things come up, people get sick, or they have a family member die, or something happens. I get that. But if you're waiting, literally, if someone's waiting 4, 5, 6 years for something, shame on you. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a soapbox here about that, but that's asinine, ridiculous. Sorry. So, back on to the collection. Waruna's Ash Williams. I know he did this one, and then he did another. I call this one the Groovy Sculpt, and then he did another one with an angry sculpt where he's angry. But this one is a modded Asmus for the most part. I really love. I'm a huge fan of like diorama bases. So like when a figure comes with a diorama base, you've pretty much got me hook, line, and sinker. Like it's. This I had to update though, obviously with a new sculpt because the one they did was not great. And then I did a Fison body, and this is still Asmus outfit. I just weathered it with pastels, and then used this. I can't think of the name of the stuff now, but it's like a wet effect stuff that I put on it. It does harden when it dries. It does kind of harden it a little bit. Three zero. I want to say it was 3-0 Leatherface. I kind of did a whitewash over the mask to kind of bring it out a little bit more. It was kind of too tan, brown for me. And then I totally redid the hair. I mean, other than that, I think this is otherwise stock. Ghostface, Billy Loomis. I should really do a second one and have it be Stu too, right? Have two in there. I know that the robe's not correct. It should be glittery. Just recently got this one added. This was one of those figures that it's like you see and you're like, my God, why, why haven't they done this yet? Why haven't they made a good quality darkness from Legend, right? And I picked this up from Dark Andrew on Instagram, which was originally, it's done by Kadika, Private Order, and no shade or anything about the original build of this was already good. That's why I bought it. But I felt like it needed a little bit more. I needed a little bit more screen accuracy. So I reached out to Jerry, who's been a friend of mine since the old Movie Maniacs now playing times, back in the forum, moviemaniacs.net and spawn.com, when we used to talk on the boards, listing all our wish lists of what we want made from Todd McFarlane and CELLAR TOYS Jerry. And anyway, I knew he was a big fan of this character, and he's done a statue or two, and 3 maybe. So I reached out to him to get. I was hoping for some reference photos from the film to get as screen accurate as possible, because I was gonna rehaul this, and he didn't have any more of the screen grabs or reference photos since he sold Pop Culture Shock. So he told me to look at the 1/3 scale statue that they did from Pop Culture Shock. So that's what I used for reference for this. I added all the extra danglies, this rope, all this stuff I added myself. I added new jewel rhinestones in the belt and the bracelets and the shoulders. I added this nylon type material for the leather for the boot, or for the pants. I did individual ringlets that are holding the pants together. I added an extension to the base, which this base was originally for my Asmus Gimli I had, but since I don't have it anymore, I got rid of it. I used it for this. The base lights up. I can't really do it with my gimbal on, but anyway, there's pictures online. The only thing I'm a little worried about with this, and I don't know why they did it, but the head sculpt is on there with a magnet. Makes me really nervous. But when I had another display, and I really shook it, right? And it stays pretty good, but it's just like, God dang it, I'm afraid like one of my kids is going to run up and hit this, and the sucker is going to fall down, and the horn's going to bust or whatever. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Cemetery Zombie from Night of the Living Dead. I took the old Olmec Time Cemetery Zombie, repainted it, did this black and white looking thing with it, added real hair. The tombstone is done by Rhino. You seen a theme here yet? Yeah, I did the black and white grass. What's funny is I'm spacing on the Bill Hinsman did the cemetery zombie. His daughter actually found my Instagram and messaged me about wanting one of these, and I had to explain to her, I was like, I don't make these. I just do this for my own collection, you know, for my personal collection. And so I mean, she liked it, but after I spoke to her, she never responded back or anything like that. So. This is probably going to be, this or the Sean Astin's Sam is probably going to be the longest running figure I have with a head sculpt that hasn't been painted in my collection. At some point, I'll probably get this painted. He's not really high on my priority list. Everything else seems to keep coming up that I want to do something else, you know. And by the time but knowing my luck, the time I finally decide to run or send this off to a painter, and then some company is going to make a new one, and I'll be like, oh, I want that one instead. So it's a gamble every time, right? You don't know what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Should you wait on? Table and everything was made by Rhino. Iconics Toys or Iconics, Iconics made this Patrick Bateman. The one in the raincoat is all stock. I haven't done anything different with that. Obviously, he came with the blooded head sculpt as well, and I felt like that's probably one of the most iconic parts of the movie to me is when he's running down the hall or into his apartment complex naked with just his sneakers on and covered in blood. So I decided to do kind of like a split personality type thing here. You got him and then him, right? But to keep this PG-13, he is anatomically correct. I did, you know, those Japanese can include some really interesting accessories with some of these Fison bodies. So I did mod him so he's anatomically correct. I won't show that here though. Yan Toys, Shaun of the Dead, and Ed, zombie version. This was another one of those situations where it's like, I love Shaun of the Dead, one of my favorite horror comedies. I know there's a custom set that came out, and obviously that set just annihilates these for what they are. And I like it, but I don't like the film enough to spend $2,000 to $3,000 on a set for it, you know. So in this situation, I'm happy and content with that Yan Toys made these. I remember back in the Movie Maniacs Cult Classic NECA times, I know they did a 12-inch scale Shaun, kind of in the same pose as I have him now here, which was a cool figure. And at that time, I was thinking I might just get that and use that as a representation for this film. In-art Pennywise, toothy sculpt. So I had the deluxe version, but I ended up selling the regular head sculpt because I don't think I really need two Pennywise in the collection. Maybe if I do get another Pennywise, it will be the Tim Curry version. But I don't see it happening because I really love Bill Skarsgård's version. In my opinion, he's much scarier to me than the '90s TV series version was. No offense to Tim Curry, because Tim Curry is a great actor. It's just I never found that funny, or not, or I found it funny versus scary. This is a rare custom by, now I don't, is it Legion or is it Legio 7? Because he spells it Legio and then a 7, but then I've also heard they call it Legion. So I don't know how to pronounce it or which way you would say it. But I did reach out to him about asking if he had ever would make another set or another run of these. And what was funny is he said he actually had one that he could sell me. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to buy it. So I did. And because Dawn of the Dead is, I mean, right up there with Night of the Living Dead and Day of the Dead, you know, my favorite zombie movies. And Flyboy is one of my favorite looks for a zombie. Like, this is like a perfect example of zombie to me. And he just nailed it. So even in Legio 7, he even, like, he nailed it with the blood too. Like, he made it look like the bright red blood on it, on his legs. Like, it looks just like the freaking paint they used on the movie, you know. So I was pretty happy and blessed to be able to get that. Pumpkinhead. All right. So as of right now, I mean, this hasn't even gone up for pre-order yet. Jerry reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in checking out a prototype, a factory sample of Pumpkinhead. And fuck yeah, right? Like, why would I not want to do that? And I was able to do the photo shoot and did some of the pictures for the figure. Should be going up for pre-order soon. Actually, as of this video, I was thinking I was going to be up already for a pre-order. I think it's going to be limited to 2,500 pieces and marketed at $300, which is a lot cheaper than I mean, I was thinking it was going to be 400, right? It's a quality figure too. I mean, yeah, you do see the joints, you see the articulation, but for me growing up, I mean, I grew up with the movie Maniac stuff. So seeing the joints isn't a big deal to me. I know there's some people that don't like to see it. It ruins the realism, and I get that. You know, I did tell Jerry that I think that he could have. I think he could have did this at a higher price point with a seamless body, and it would have still sold. I think, but he was a little worried about how many fans would be out there that would actually spend the money for it. But when you see some of these collectors in the community, especially horror 1/6 scale fans, we sometimes drop a lot of money on something ridiculous, right? I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. Like, could he have done it like under $1,000, seamless body, and would have sold? I think it probably would have, you know. But that's just me personally thinking that. I don't know. I mean, he might know other things that I don't know in the business that I don't, you know, I'm ignorant on. So, but yeah, I love this figure. I've been wanting a 1/6 scale Pumpkinhead for forever, since I started this collecting. So yeah, it's one of Stan Winston's babies. So of course, anything Stan Winston touches, I kind of want to get a piece of that, right? Yeah, I think that's it on that. Oh, I'm also waiting on. I'm having Rhino make me, so that the statue that they did, the core sale statue, came with like a dilapidated church. I'm doing that for this as well, but it's going to be 1/6 scale, and Rhino's going to be putting it together for me at some point. So couple months back, I got this crazy idea. I was like, you know what? I was looking at the cover art of the poster and thinking, nobody has done a figure of this that I know of at the time. Now I found out that somebody else did this too, but I didn't find that out until like a couple weeks ago, like last week. But yeah, I thought, well, this would be an easy figure to do. It'd be a cool setup to do. Find a hooded jacket. I added the fur. Found the cargo pants on eBay. Boots were on eBay. When you turn this around, obviously you see the thing parts coming out of the back, and someone else thought of this too. So it wasn't just me that thought, oh hey, this is brilliant. I just came up with something original. Someone else did this too. So someone pointed out to me, which is fine. Sometimes these things happen. And so the LED, there's a 3 LED bulb inside here, USB powered, plugged into the wire, and wire runs down his coat into the pants and out to the bottom. But I thought it'd be cool to do something like this. I also frosted up the glass to make it look like it's cold. So two of these are coming up here, some of my favorite pieces in the collection. Other pieces that are just forever homes. They're not going anywhere. Obviously, Fright Night is in my top 5. Well, so is The Thing. So The Thing and Fright Night are in my top 5 horror movies of all time. Jerry Dandridge is one of my favorite vampire characters. Chris Sarandon, great actor. You can really love him, or you can love to hate him, you know, and like Prince Humperdinck in The Princess Bride, you know. And so this was done by J Customs, and Odell Young is the one who put this run together. And this was I wasn't on this run at the very beginning. I was kind of hesitant that I wanted to spend that type of money. I was like, you know, but then right towards the end, right before it sold out, I got that FOMO going on, and I'm like, no, I need to get on it. I need to get on it. So then I did, and boy, I'm glad I did, because obviously it would have been a very expensive mistake if I didn't, because this thing, just like the Doubtfire, sells for a lot of money now. So yeah. And then just recently I got lucky. My cousin was able to attend Nightmare Weekend in Des Moines, Iowa, and he was able to get Chris Sarandon's autograph for my COA for this, which I'm really happy that was able to work out. I was a little worried though, because Saturday, which was the day he was going to get it signed, he told me Chris Sarandon left early, like up and left, and I'm like, so I thought I missed that window. I was like, well, fuck, that didn't work out. But then he ended up going back the second day and was able to get it, and we happy. This could be the magnum opus, maybe. I don't know. I know this is definitely the most expensive figure I've ever paid for, and it's going to remain that way. I'm never going to spend this much money on something ever again, as far as the collection goes. It's just not going to happen. I was out of my bleep mind when I ordered this. But yeah, The Thing is my number 2 favorite film of all time, only behind Halloween. And I mean, this movie might as well just be a perfect movie. This you can't get better than this film. It's just I can't even. No way could this ever be topped in a remake or anything like that. It's never going to happen. This was lightning in the bottle. The special effects were off the fucking chain. Rob Bottin is he's a mastermind. I mean, he's right up there with Rick Baker for me, and Stan Winston. I might even go. I think he's even higher than that, really. I mean, he is a really brilliant man. But yeah, the work on this set was phenomenal. Johnny Chunkinum, I cannot say that name. Kejun did the sculpt paint work. Hair was by Tetsuya Studios. The accessories were by Andy, Doggy Dock Designs again. Wonderful work, just absolutely phenomenal all the way around. I know some people nitpick it like it's too expensive for what it is. I don't know. I mean, it is expensive, but what really could have been better? I don't know. You know, I mean, could the rifle and the flamethrower be real metal? I suppose it could, but that is it, again, the die casting, is it necessary? Really? I don't know. I made the base. That's my contribution. My contribution to this set is my base right there that I made for me. Creepshow in my top 5 as well. So my top 5 is obviously Halloween, The Thing, Fright Night, Creepshow, American Werewolf in London. And the fact that I'm able to have all 5 of these represented in my collection is pretty amazing. Going back to like early 2000s and my wish lists, you know, and never imagined that I'd get all these characters in the same scale, you know, all in, you know, represented. Is pretty amazing. The Fluffy was done by G Models. Actually, I just had someone ask me about whether or not I would want to buy the Beto Fluffy. And me personally, I'm happy with the G Models version. For the G Models version was $500, and you get that and the crate. And me personally, I feel like that's good enough for me, right? The Raoul, I put this together myself. The skeleton is a full articulated skeleton by Fattel Studios. I think it's a company in Italy. It's funny because when you buy the skeleton, it comes in like a really small box, right? It's like literally like this big. And it's like, what the hell? And you open it up and the skeleton's literally crouched in like a fetal position in the box, and you can take him apart and use a full articulated skeleton in there. And I made the box, ticket booth and all that stuff. I did this little thing to represent Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill. I probably wouldn't have room to ever get a Jordy in here, but Jordy with a bunch of, like Stephen King Jordy with a bunch of the green stuff growing all over him, meteor shit on him. I think that'd be really cool to have in here too, but I don't know. Maybe I could move this trash can over here and have a chair with Jordy or something. Roadkill Customs did Nathan Grantham. Nathan isn't really, I mean, he's a zombie. Why not, right? Have more zombies in the collection, the better. But he was never really high on my list for having as representing Creepshow. It was just going to be Raoul and Fluffy. That was it. But Roadkill Customs came on and they made this diorama with the word bubbles like that, and it was fairly inexpensive. I mean, it was literally the price of a normal mass-produced figure you can buy from Hot Toys or Sideshow at the prices now. So it was like, why not? That's not a bad deal for a custom figure. This is my Kessler Wolf that I built myself. Originally, this was a Hot Toys Chewbacca was originally what it was. I sculpted the head, painted it, and haired it myself. But then the body wasn't right for Chewbacca. So I mean, I did a bunch of modding to it to get it to be on all fours and stuff, and I just wasn't happy with the feet of it. And even though this still isn't screen accurate as far as body proportion goes, I found a much better, there's a large 14-inch wolf body that I found that I ended up using instead. No, I'm actually still I'm waiting on. I have two head sculpts from Mauricio Chavez, who did a Kessler Wolf head sculpt, open mouth and closed mouth, and those two head sculpts are with Nathan right now. That I'll get painted, and then when I get that, then I'll probably hair them too, and then have that replace my work that I did with this one probably. Caustic Plastics, in my opinion, probably their best figures that they've made so far. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, Van Helsing and Dracula. When growing up, like obviously I always loved Universal monsters, but like the iconic Christopher Lee Dracula image has always been like the image of Dracula for me. I mean, I know there's Bela Lugosi too, but like the more I don't know, feral suave Lee versus the suave Bela Lugosi. I don't know, something about it. And Peter Cushing has always been my favorite Van Helsing. This is another second setup for my Fright Night display with vamped out Amy and the more suave human looking version of Jerry Dandridge. Lost Boys David. Not much to say to this one. Another shame on me for owning Red Man Toys ripoff. This will be getting replaced soon, I think, with the Sideshow one. I'm going to do the real hair. Or I have the real hair on this one, and I might keep the Sideshow one and do the vampire version with that. The dirt bike I got off eBay. Someone was just asking me about that too. That was just by luck. I was searching 1/6 scale dirt bike on eBay, and this popped up. The only thing I did differently to it is I tied the back tire down a little bit, so it was more like he's got weight on it, so he's sitting on it right. Another shame on me, Red Man Toys. This one I actually repainted myself. And I love the base from it was COO model vampire that they did that base from. This is another one that's kind of either it's going to be a placemat to eventually someday owning the genuine Rain Man, or if I can ever align it with funds and availability at the same time, I might scoop it up. Never know. Another one that I'm thinking of. I'm probably gonna, since my space is running low on sets my setup here. So this one I'll probably end up getting rid of and just keep with the one Bram Stoker. Mondo Toys, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Gillman. Not bad. I mean, it's like all their other stuff. It's pretty much a large action figure, really, with the visible joints and stuff. I know they're doing a 2.0 with a seamless body. I might look at getting that, but then at the same time, I might wait and see what Caustic Plastic does, because I think they're going to be doing it as well. Again, a lot of options coming now in this scale, this stuff. Interview with the Vampire, Louis. Sometimes this comes undone. Would love to get Lestat if they did a more humanoid or human version of Lestat. I know one third-party company did it and didn't look very good. I know there's the alligator version that was done by Ramir brothers did one, but it's not the look I want. I want the more suave looking or suave looking Lestat. Future spots for Saw and Devil's Rejects. We got Trick or Treat Studios, Sam. I modded him with a new body, weathered him up. Pretty happy with how he turned out. Megan is coming. Chucky and the Puppet Master puppets waiting on Leech Woman and the case. And that'll round out that display. Oh, yeah. Night of the Creeps, another movie that I love growing up. Gonna have my buddy Josh Roop sculpt me Detective Cameron, Tom Adkins sculpt for him. I know Return of the Living Dead trioxin barrel in there isn't right, but don't have space for it yet. Ghost Bob Myers, nothing much to say about that. Doggy Doc Designs phone, pretty easy build. NECA Gremlins, not true 1/6 scale, but it gets the job done. Reanimator is coming, Dr. Herbert West from Caustic Plastic, so have a spot ready for that. And my Mishap and Joker set, pretty much placeholder until I get the InArt version. So, all right, that's oh yeah, I got these two glorious premium formats. Definitely, this year has definitely been the year of the past grails for me. I've been doing a little bit of hunting and picking up some of the older pieces that I've wanted to get over the years, and have been able to scoop them up. So yeah, I've been talking for hours now, and that's all I got for you guys. I'm sure I'll see you guys around. Enjoy. Hope this was informative and enjoyed hearing me talk and blab about my passion and what I love about this hobby. So, all right, thank you. Peace out.